Hi everyone, Wizarding Journey here, and today we're going to talk about my adventure or first time tabling at an out-of-state con. This time it was at Anime Boston. So yeah, it's exciting. So Anime Boston is located in Boston, obviously. To get an artist alley table, you have to enter a pool of artists, so you have to categorize what you sell and then enter those categories, and based on that you'll then get chosen by lottery to get in and get a table. I was lucky enough to get drawn. I was really nervous. I did not know if I would be able to make back my expenses just based on local cons here here in California. So I was like, I don't know if I should go or not, because money was kind of tight early on in the year too. So I was hesitant on going. So I asked one of my friends and they agreed to go with me. And so yeah, we both sold at Anime Boston, and it was good. It was a good time, yeah. Let's get into it. I went to the airport in LA on the 27th to leave for my flight for Anime Boston. We didn't leave until the 28th, and it was a 1 a.m. in the morning flight. So yeah, I mean, it was nice that we got to kind of sleep on the plane and then woke up in Boston and then get to do some things before the con. But yeah, it was a packed flight. There were crying children. Would not recommend that part. So yeah, it didn't help that it was Easter weekend too. So yeah, very busy, the airport. Yeah. So when we arrived in Boston, we waited at luggage checkout, and that's where we saw this cool little sign. He. And then we just took an Uber to the hotel and dropped off our luggage because our check-in wasn't until 3. Yeah, that worked out kind of well. That went really smoothly, surprisingly. I was also surprised that all our luggage arrived. I heard a bunch of other artists getting delays and stuff just based on the weather, because it was raining at Anime Boston, or in Boston, I should say, during the time that we were there, at least the first 1 or 2 days. So we were kind of lucky that we got that early morning flight and didn't get any delays or lost luggage, thankfully. So yeah. So my friend and I, we walked to Flower Bakery plus Cafe, and then we got some breakfast. This coffee was so good. It was a mocha, but it still has coffee in it. A little bit, right? So it was really good, as well as the sweet bun. Very good. Would definitely recommend if you're in Boston checking out this cafe. It was really cute. So yeah, we walked there from our hotel. It was 12-minute walk. Wasn't too bad. We then took an Uber to the aquarium, the New England Aquarium, which is an AZA accredited aquarium. So that basically means they meet all the all the standards of housing animals and have proper facility. I mainly just go to AZA accredited aquariums just because I used to work at an aquarium, so I kind of value that AZA accreditation kind of high up, just to make sure all the animals are fine. But yeah, it was really cool. It was busy for one, which I guess, yes, makes sense because it was spring break. So yeah, but we got to see penguins, and then you were able to play with the penguins. There was a little reflection that you could put into the water and the penguins would follow. It was really cute. And we saw a bunch of fish, and these weird looking fish that look like elephants. They were called elephant something, I forgot, but these look so funny. We got to see jellyfish, which I always love seeing jellyfish. They're so cool, especially the luminescent ones. Yes. Yeah, we got to see seals. This one seal kind of wanted to play dead. Yeah, or sea lion. Sorry, sea lion. But so yeah, we stayed at the aquarium for a bit, and then we headed back to the hotel because it was like we were getting kind of tired, so we wanted to rest, and it was check-in time already. So we took an Uber back to the hotel, took like an hour-long like rest or nap, and then it was time for us to head over to the convention with all our luggage. I had one big checked-in bag, my friend also had one big checked-in bag, and then we were sharing a third one. Literally in the airport at LAX, we were like opening up one suitcase, putting in all of their stuff into that one suitcase. Like, people probably were staring at us weirdly, but it's fine, right? All what we do to save money for con. Literally, I had the big suitcase, I had half of the other big suitcase, I had my carry-on stuffed with my grid cube panels, and then some, I think it was some charms as well. And then for my backpack, I literally stuffed it full to the brim with merchandise. I had my photo cards in there because those are pretty heavy. And then I also had my shaker charms in there because those alone weighed like 10 pounds. I was surprised. So yeah, packed to the brim. We were like max weight. So yeah, we did good. So yeah, we took all of that to the con with an Uber, obviously, because it's like a 20-30 minute walk from our hotel, but like only like a 4 or 5 minute drive to the con, so pretty nice. When we got to the con, so you go into the Sheraton, I already saw on the Annie Discord that like things were going wrong for some people, with like artists having to wait in line sometimes and like not being able to allow it in and set up, kind of like weird things. So I was kind of nervous, and like people not letting artists get their badges. I don't know, it was weird, but thankfully we didn't have any issues. We went up the escalator in the Sheraton, went into batch check-in. Thankfully, there was another Artist Alley person or two people that were there to check in as well. So we just followed behind them, and then like in the end, we had like this huge line of artists that wanted to get their badges. Because the line was wrapping around the con, or snaking around, and it was pretty long, so we had to talk to one of the staff, be like, hey, we're artists, can we skip the line please? And then they just let us through, which is really nice. Yeah, so we got our badges, everything went smoothly. Mind you, when you do get a table at Anime Boston, it does not come with a badge, so you do have to buy a separate badge. So you have to like register with like your name, and that then links to your artist account. Yeah. Went through the Sheraton into the mall. So the convention center is kind of attached to a mall or within a mall, which is really interesting. It's good for food options though, I'll say that. But yeah, I don't want to know what all these people that went to the mall just for regular reasons thought about all the cosplayers and people being there. But so we wanted to go into the convention center, and the security was like, no, you can't go in, artists aren't allowed to set up, blah blah blah. So we had to have a discussion with them. I mean, they were basically told what they were told. I don't fault them, they were just following procedure. But yeah, it was just a little stress being like, oh, we're not allowed in. I heard there were a bunch of artists already in and stuff like that. But yeah, we got it all settled. We were like a horde of artists trying to get in. But yeah, and then it was time for setup. You have to check in at the artist table to get your little token, which is basically a plastic badge saying that you're an artist. You have to have that on your badge at all times. They do random check-ins as well, just to make sure that everyone behind the booth is an artist or artist helper. Yeah, so we did setup. I will say setup hours day one could be different. It's 7:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. A lot of artists have like very detailed displays that might take longer to set up. Like if I didn't have all my keychains and everything already mounted to my boards, it would have taken so much longer. It usually takes me an hour. This time it was like an hour and a half. After we finished setting up, we waited for 2 other artist friends to finish their setup and so that we could go get food. We drove to the hotel, dropped off their luggage, and then we went back to a food place that was near the con that was still open, thankfully, around that time. Yeah, the food was good. The food was good. And yeah, so that was basically day 1 of setup. So day one officially of the con started at 11, or Artist Alley opened up at 11, and then Dealer's Hall didn't open up till 12, which was kind of nice. That they give dealers the option to go down to Artist Alley and shop for an hour. It would be kind of nice if they did the same for artists, maybe like day 2 or day 3, where it's like Dealer's Hall is maybe open an hour longer and then artists can go up or something. At like right at starting at 11, it was crazy. It was crazy. I've never had like so many sales in like the first hour. Like, damn, I was not expecting that. Usually in California, like the first like 1, 2, 3 hours, mostly people perusing, seeing what they want to buy. There are some sales, but like most people are still looking. No, Anime Boston, people just bought. They bought. And like it wasn't even like small purchases. A lot of them were big ones too. And a lot of times when people like bought something that was like $4. For instance, my photo cards are $4. So if they paid $4, they would tip the $1 because I had like a tip jar, and I was just like, damn, no, keep your money, please. But yeah, the tip jar was mostly there for the stamp rallies that was in. So I was part of a Bungo Stray Dogs stamp rally, and I had Dazai as my character, my son. I love him so much. He has so many flaws, but I love him. I was part of a Dungeon Meshi stamp rally that was hosted by my table partner. So that was a lot of fun too. I had Kabru. Yeah, that was also fun. We sold out, well, we ran out of prizes day 2. Like, if we didn't cap it day 1, we probably would have been out of prizes day 1. But yeah, people were crazy for Dungeon Meshi. And then I was also part of a One Piece stamp rally where it was like, you had to spend $10 at each booth, and then you got like an exclusive keychain. And so yeah, that was my first ever stamp rally with like a physical, like manufactured piece for a stamp rally. So yeah, that was fun. That was fun. I really enjoyed that. Day 1, very, very busy. I do recommend you bringing food and water, lots of it. Yeah. You can't really leave your table unless you have like a table partner. So yeah, make sure if you do go. There was this one announcer person. They were like a huge Rengoku fan, and then They were like calling out to this Rengoku cosplayer in like a Hooters outfit. And it was great. It was like very validating of how I feel sometimes when there's like a cosplay of my favorite character coming up, like an exceptionally good cosplay. I'm like, oh my god, I don't know how to act. So yeah, that was kind of like validating. And I really loved their commentary. It was great. The Artist Alley stopped at 9 p.m. so it did go on pretty late. So yeah, be prepared for long hours if you do get into Anime Boston. But I would say it is non-stop basically the entire time. Like sure, it like slows down a bit where you don't have a line anymore, but then other times it does pick up again. But expect sales to be non-stop, basically. Yeah. After we closed things down, my friend and I, we wanted to go to get Five Guys. But we headed over to Five Guys, saw this beautiful night scenery of Boston. And we get to Five Guys and the fucking doors closed. It was like they closed 20 minutes early. I don't know if the door just was locked or we couldn't open it because of the strong winds. I don't know. There were people inside, but yeah. So we just walked and found a different burger place called Westland. It was like more fancy, but it was pretty good, and we had this really good like brownie dessert too at the end. Yeah. And a nice treat for day one and doing so well. I basically day one made back all of my expenses, including some merchandise. I would say I don't think I made back all of my merchandise expenses. I have like a pie chart at the end showing my expenses versus what I made, but yeah, I think I made back all my big expenses. So day 2 started at 10 a.m. So an hour earlier, which was kind of rough, not gonna lie. 11 a.m. is kind of a better time, but I'll take it. Yeah, it was busy again from the start. So with Anime Boston, you're not allowed to record or take photos within Artist Alley, hence why I don't really have footage other than my own booth from Artist Alley. You can ask artists if they're okay with taking pictures or videos to send to friends and stuff like that, or just to keep as a memory, and like, I don't really care, to be honest. But yeah, there were some people walking around with really nice big like professional cameras that were some people worried about. But then there was like this one dude that apparently was streaming. My artist friends that tabled at a different table, they saw this person, they were just holding up their phone to the chest and like recording it that way. So just, they knew that they were doing something wrong. So yeah, but the announcer person from first day was on the speaker again and apparently said something that they weren't supposed to. I think it was justified, to be honest, but I guess the streamer person complained, or someone complained, and they got replaced, or they weren't allowed to speak on the microphone anymore for the rest of the weekend. Which, like, all of us artists were so sad. Like, when they made the announcement at the end of the day, we were just like, oh my god, no, please. They were great. I loved their announcements. But yeah, day 2, well, day 1 I sold out of a bunch of items, and then day 2 I sold out of even more. Like my One Piece shaker charms, I brought like 20 of them, and I sold out of them halfway through day 2. And like so many other people came back day 3 and were like, oh, you're out of the One Piece shaker. I'm like, yes, I'm sorry. I wish I made more. I didn't know how popular they would be. So yeah, So bring more of what is popular for your items. I knew that my One Piece shaker charms were popular, but I thought like 20 would be enough, but apparently not. So bring more of your popular items. Anime Boston also does not allow stickers, but what I did is just turn my stickers into magnets, and they did really well. I sold out of a bunch of them. I only have like a couple of designs left and only a handful of them too. So yeah, if you have a lot of stickers and you have like really popular designs, turn them into magnets. They do really well. Some people still call them stickers, but then like I'm like, oh no, they're magnets. We aren't allowed to sell stickers. So yeah. So yeah, for sales wise, I would say Friday and Saturday compared pretty evenly. I did do a little bit better on Saturday compared to Friday, but it was like so minimal that it's basically kind of the same at this point. So yeah, same amount of sales. So that, if that kind of like tells you how crazy day 1 was, then yeah. We closed again at 9, the Artist Alley, and then we just went to Shake Shack because I really was craving a shake. And then my table partner was like, yeah, I could go for another burger. And I was like, cool, we'll go to Shake Shack. So we did. And then we saw the prices for Ubers, heading back to from the con to the hotel, and it was like 25 USD for like a 5-minute ride. We were like, nah, we're not gonna pay that. So we walked through Boston to our hotel. Now thinking back at it, maybe it was not the best idea because there were some kind of sketchy areas and then some homeless people around and a lot of police. So maybe not next time. Maybe we do spend those 25 bucks, but my friend, they had like their metal water bottle and they were swinging it around, and yeah, it's fine. We were safe, especially with us carrying around the amount of cash that we did. Maybe it was not a good idea, but it's okay. We're fine. We're fine. During that night or in the evening when we were back at the hotel with my other artist friends and then my table partner, we talked throughout a majority of the night. It was something. So day 3 started at 10 again, and we kind of were late. I mean, we still got there before opening, but it was like really, really close to it. I mean, I think like maybe 20 to 10 minutes before Artist Alley opened. We still had to like undo the covers. We wanted to walk around and collect stamps for stamp rallies and stuff like that. And yeah, we ran out of time. But yeah. It was very, very busy as well, day 3. All 3 days were so busy. I was amazed. I made about half what I made on Saturday for day 3, but that was to be expected since it only went to 3 p.m. So the Artist Alley went from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. instead of 9 p.m. So we got to close early. My table partner and I, we decided to close down 30 minutes early to check out Dealer's Hall because we didn't have a chance to check out any of the con. Which, to be fair, might have been a mistake because there wasn't really anything good in Dealer's Hall, to be honest. I just got like a little bit of footage. But yeah, I see why people might be spending most of their money in Artist Alley. I mean, it could be that all the good stuff already sold out in Dealer's Hall, but I think that most people just spend their money in Artist Alley just because Dealer's Hall was mostly like resellers of figures and stuff like that. So yeah, that's just my justification for why people spend this much. So yeah, we packed everything up. It was like maybe an hour for me to pack everything up. Waited for our friends. I got everything into my 2 luggages without me having to put anything in my carry-on or my backpack. So that was amazing. So day 1, a fan did drop by and dropped off these big plushies. So first it was like a dolphin plushie, right? A big one. I was like, oh, this is so cute. I love it. It's very squishy, very cute. And I was like, oh, thank you, thank you. And then he pulls out another one. I was like, oh, okay. I can fit this in my suitcase, sure. And this is day 1, mind you. So yeah. So he pulls out another one. It's a big round fox plushie, and it's like, oh, this is for Noble. I was like, oh, thank you. And then he pulls out more, and it's like a tiny Gengar, and it's like, oh, this is for Chino. Noble's entered it. And I'm like, thank you. I don't know how to fit this. And then he pulls out 2 more shirts, which like shirts is easy to fit, but the big plushies were kind of like a, yeah. If it didn't sell out of as much as I did, that would have been an issue. I was able to, so I came with 4 utensil storage boxes full of keychains and charms, and the shaker charms. And I was able to flatten 2 of those, so I only had 2 left, which was fine. And then I had 1 container full of shaker charms left, basically, where my photo card holders were in before. So I did manage to like consolidate things So that helped with me being able to fit those plushies. But damn. Please, please. I love gifts. It's so kind of you. But please, please. Keep in mind that we have limited luggage space. So like smaller items are preferred if you do like want to gift someone something. So yeah, just keep that in mind for next time. So yeah, so we went back to the hotel, dropped everything off, and then we met up with some new artist friends. At least for me, they are new artist friends. Probably for my other friends, they're like, they've known each other for a while, but for me, new friends. And we went to a Korean barbecue as a little treat to ourselves. So that was a lot of fun, meeting new people and having good foods. Yeah. And surprisingly enough, Anime Boston had a lot of California artists. I was so surprised. Like, there were so many people that I knew or kind of knew just from meeting at cons. It was crazy how many there were from California, but that shows you kind of how competitive California artist alleys are, that we do have to like seek out of-state cons to make ends meet or make more profit. Because California cons, they happen so often, people don't spend a lot there. I feel like people sometimes are more rude, sometimes too. I don't know. Anime Boston was a really like different experience and I would love to go again, so yeah. So our flight left at 6 a.m. the next day, so we had to leave for the airport at like 2:30ish because it took like, it said 30 minutes to the airport, but it literally didn't take that long. Got at the airport, the security or TSA didn't open up till 4, but it kind of opened up at 3:30. So yeah, we got through TSA. Everything was fine. We got to our gate and it said our flight was delayed by like 45 minutes. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I kind of kept falling asleep at the airport and like repeatedly like waking up. I got like a coffee, some food, and then I got pictures of the sunset. Like not sunset, sunrise. Like I woke up and then I looked over and I was like, ooh, that's pretty. And then like I went up, took pictures, and then I sat back down and fell asleep. Then it was time for boarding. We got into the plane. I like already like kind of knocked out. I was so tired. We were like already starting to move, going onto the tarmac and everything. And then I wake up and this announcement comes up with, oh, we have to turn our back around to our gate because there's a loose dog and it's an FAA regulation. I'm like, oh god, seriously? So apparently this woman is first class, had their dog on board, not in a carrier. So they had to go back to the gate, get a carrier, or kick the woman off the flight. Either one, I don't know what happened. But yeah, so we then, like, this whole ordeal took like 2 hours, so we were another 2 hours late, so in total like almost 3 hours late from when we were supposed to arrive in LA. Yeah, yikes. Please, if you do travel with your dogs or cats, please put them in a carrier. Please don't make people go through this. Don't be an inconvenience to other people, please. But yeah, that wraps up my trip to Anime Boston. So overall thoughts on the con. Yes, I would 100% recommend you do this con if you do have enough inventory and you've done really well at your local cons before. I would definitely recommend you do Anime Boston. It is really competitive to get into, so don't be like angry at the con if you don't get in your first try. Like, it's very competitive for good reason. And so yeah, this is like the pie chart of like how I did at the con. So yeah, it was really good. Would definitely do again. It was kind of justified that I was so scared at first, because like usually I don't make this much. Like, this was 3 times as much as I usually make at cons, and so I was kind of scared going into this just to make back costs because like my expenses with the merch that I bought was about how much I would usually make at cons. So I was like, oh, kind of afraid to go to an out-of-state con and then just make back expenses and not profit. But yes, definitely. If you are an artist wanting to go to Anime Boston, I would recommend you definitely bring more inventory of products that you know are popular. I thought I did bring enough, but you guys blew me away with how much you wanted these items. I sold out. I had Frieren keychains, and Frieren is the only one I sold out of. And I didn't expect it. I didn't really sell any before that many, and yeah. Oh, crazy. And then a One Piece Shaker Charm. And then even I had a misprint Kirby Shaker Charm. And you guys didn't care, you just bought it. I had it severely discounted, yes, but you guys didn't care. I only have 2 left now. And I had like 15 of them. So, yeah, that's crazy. That some of you really wanted to buy, it's not a defect item, but like a B grade, C grade kind of item. And now you didn't care and still just want it. It's really crazy, yeah. I would say bring lots of food and drink to the con. They do allow artists to bring in stuff. You do get like a pass by security, so you don't have to get your stuff checked. But yeah. Bring lots of food and drink. There are restrooms right in that hall, so go drink, go eat. I did a mistake day 1 where I didn't drink a lot because I thought the restrooms were outside of the hall. No, they were literally right there. So yes, make sure to bring lots of food and drink. I would say don't do the mistake as I did with closing my booth early to go to Dealer's Hall. It's not really worth it. Unless you feel like you really need to buy, like, if you really need to buy, like, prize figures and stuff like that. But yeah, if you want to buy overpriced prize figures, then I would say go ahead, sure. But I'm already going to Japan this year, so I know the prices of what prize figures should be costing, so I didn't feel like spending excess amount of money on those. Table cost is relatively cheap if you think about it in like terms of California prices, but you do have to buy a artist badge or a badge on top of it, so it does hike up the price. If you can't afford it or don't think you can afford it, then split a table. Anime Boston is really open for people to split tables. They literally have it in their statement that go ahead, split a table. You can split a table with 3 ways with an artist. So like have 3 artists at a table. Just don't overcharge people for their section of the table. So yeah. That being said, if you do think you can fill out a 6-foot table and you know stuff will sell, go with a 6-foot table. Go. Take up all the space you need. I wasn't sure how well I was gonna do, so I split a table. I could have easily filled out a 6-foot table and still done really well. So yeah, just to keep that in mind, if you have enough merchandise and you know it will sell, just keep the table to yourself. If you do have a friend that you already promised to table with, or you don't want to travel alone and you want to have a travel partner, then yeah, go ahead, share the table. Share the love. So yeah. The only downsides that I would say probably were at the con were the coordination between staff and security. Although it was day 1 setup day, there are always issues with that. It's not like how it was at AX where they didn't allow artists to bring in food and drink or like made them throw it away day 1 of the con. So I'll give them leeway on that. I do wish setup hours were a different time, like for Thursday, that they would start earlier so that you can get setup done and then explore the rest of the city. Just cause 7:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. is kind of late, and some artists have really detailed displays, as I mentioned before, and it does take longer for them to set up. So yeah, There's also the alternative of getting to the con early day 1. I believe the hours were from 9 to 11 when the con opened. But then again, that's only 2 hours again, so yeah, there's that. So I would say setup hours, maybe have those be different for setup day, although that could be restrictions by the convention center or how they need to set up things for the con. So I do kind of understand if that would be the issue of why they have it at 7:30 instead of being earlier. But yeah, that is my thoughts on Anime Boston. Again, definitely would 100% do this again. Thank you guys so much for all the love that you showed me and all the support. It was really overwhelming, but like, I still can't believe it. This is really crazy. So yeah, thank you guys again so much. And yeah, see you next time for my next Artist Alley vlog. I don't know if I'll do like small like behind the scenes things or if it's just like convention reviews kind of like this. My next big con is Anime Riverside. Well, big con is a small con. I do have little pop-up events that I was thinking about doing reviews on. I already had one this weekend, but I didn't really record anything. I might do a review on Armageddon Con, but I do have to ask one of my siblings that tabled for me there about pros and cons from the con. So yeah, we'll see. But anyways, thank you guys so much for joining me today, for watching my video, my rant, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.